we are again, trudging through the irradiated ruins of what was once a promising adaptation. Fallout 2, Season 2, Episode 2. Let's call it what it is, another installment in Amazon's ongoing quest to turn the beloved wasteland into a fragmented mess of half-baked ideas and narrative whiplash. If you haven't seen my previous video, you can check it out here at the top, where I give my thoughts and opinions on the first episode of Fallout Season 2. Some very much agreed with my takes, and others thought I was a brainwashed New Vegas purist who's just hating to hate. Stay tuned and find out if my opinion changes by the end of this video. As before, spoilers ahead, but this isn't a full breakdown of the episode, as others do that a whole lot better than me. This is just my take on it. After a premiere that teased New Vegas, this episode jams the brakes on and takes us anywhere else. No nostalgia baiting, no iconic locations, and no plot developments, with added in what I presume to be retcons. I've just had the subtle feeling that they didn't expect this show to do as well as it did, and it didn't plan for it, but who knows, I could be wrong. It kicks off with a flashback to pre-war? No, wait, post-war? No. Pre-post-war? It shows us Shady Sands as a thriving community, giving us a young Maximus in what should be a nostalgic, almost idyllic glimpse of the NCR's glory days. Clean water from a rad-free still, a sense of order and hope. It's meant to evoke that warm, fuzzy, pre-war Americana vibe that the series loves to subvert. And for a moment, it almost works. Almost. We get a brief nod to the NCR's glory before the randomness sets in. A Pac Brahmin trader muttering that infamous line about wishing for a nuclear winter. Turns out he's got some kind of brain chip implanted, completed with a nuclear payload. So this apparently is the show's new explanation for how Shady Sands went up in flames, tying it back to Maximus in a contrived fridge moment that feels less like clear foreshadowing and more like lazy retconning. We pivot abruptly to younger Hank McLean, confirming what this first season heavily implied: he was complicit in the destruction. It's a reveal that lands with all the impact you'd expect, because now we've seen enough Vault-Tec villainy to numb us. However, if he successfully got the chip to work for the time it takes a Brahmin trader to travel from the Mojave to Shady Sands, but can't get it to work on mice or another premier cryo-sleep Vault-Tec member, it's just very, very bizarre. Maybe we will see a payoff to this further down the line, but my expectations for this mind control device do not hold out. Cut to present day Maximus, suited up in Brotherhood power armor, mowing down feral ghouls in a sequence that's quite visually competent, complete with some admittedly cool docking maneuvers for the airships and the vertibird docking scenes. I think this is where the show excels in showing the scope of these things, but just like anything that's nice to look at, if it has no substance to it, it doesn't really hold much form factor. However, I feel that they're setting up a conflicted stormtrooper plotline for Maximus, which they later just have him now becoming a super strong outside of the armor. It seems a little conflicted. There seemed to be a story there, but it shoehorned and breaknecked to a different location by the end of the episode. However, I will give it that he was the most interesting part out of this episode. Take that how you will. That said, my frustration creeps in whenever I stop to think about all the time that has passed since Season 1, yet the Brotherhood's Prideman, or equivalent, hasn't bothered to park itself over New Vegas. Considering now there's many airships that they apparently have, and if the conflict of a civil war within the Brotherhood is brewing, then it's a nice nod that the Commonwealth Brotherhood sent each chapter its own airship. However, all this culminates on the arrival of the Commonwealth representative named Xander Harkness. Harkness, like the android Harkness in Rivet City? Or am I giving them too much credit? I just feel like Bethesda might pull the Commonwealth Brotherhood of Steel is going to swoop in and be the good guys again. Maximus joins them and crushes the rebels. But maybe I'm being too cynical. I will be cynical that the windmills that cleared away all the sand conveniently ignored the people standing in their paths, which turned out to be a bit of an odd reveal of an Area 51 type place, but it did have a nice nod to the aliens. Back to Norm in the vaults. At the end of episode 1, it seemed that he was unfreezing everybody in the cryopods. However, this turned out to be a handful of 15 to 20 people instead. This again just feels like a bit of filler. It's very short this time, but I'm interested to see how it plays out. Although, unfortunately, my bet is that it will be subverted for gimmicky nonsense of him trying to establish a settlement and the Vault-Tec employees, who all look extremely young, might I add, being cannon fodder for the wasteland to die in weird and bizarre circumstances. Finally, Lucy and the ghoul side questing again. This works for a game, but not TV. A nice New Vegas track plays over their travel sequence though, this time Lazy Day Blues. It's a nice touch, but again, maybe a bit of a missed opportunity. It could have had Mr. New Vegas on the radio to tie it all together nicely. The road scenes feel wasted here, skipping over potential stops that could have enriched the journey. I mean, they did Novak last week, albeit it wasn't my favourite use of it, but it was there. This time we get inside a medical sort of horror bit where people are crying for help. We get to meet some mini bark scorpions with a larger radscorpion making its a grand appearance, whilst they try to rescue and save a few Legion slaves. However, this sequence is dimly lit to the point of obscurity, echoing that infamous Game of Thrones battle episode where you couldn't see a damn thing. As for Lucy's decisions here, they make her seem even more naive, if not downright regressing in competence. Is the Vault Dweller getting dumber, or is this just writing inconsistency at its peak? I like the optimistic attitude she has, but what she was crafted as being that naive little girl from a vault to being potential hardened wastelander by the end of season 1, it seems they just did a rewash and a rehash of this, and this time the optimistic attitude is wearing thin fast, despite her having been topside for a period of time now. Finally, the Legion shows up in force. Or no force. It just felt like a teaser trailer, so jankily cut together with other scenes that it should have had a bigger impact. This is the problem with this episode, it's all intercut with rapid jumps between storylines. Lucy and the ghoul on the road, Maximus with the Brotherhood, Hank's whatever he's doing, and Norm's escape. And that's the core problem. Lots of jumps, lots of tiny setup, but precious little payoff. It's a lot of nothing, really. Teasing faction conflicts, new tech MacGuffins, cross-country connections, but it feels like wheel spinning. The episode tries to build tension without releasing it, scattering threads across the wasteland without weaving them into anything coherent. Had they have shaped the episode a bit better with less cuts, it would have been at least something of better pacing within the episode. And that's now 2 episodes down out of 8. Can you tell me what the plot is for this season? I mean, can you remember anything major from season 1 as well? I feel the Moldaver was NCR was shoehorned in there at the last minute, yet I can remember the name of Harkness from Fallout 3 nearly 20 years later. Look, Fallout has always thrived on its blend of dark humour, moral ambiguity and exploration. Season 1 captured some of that magic despite its flaws, but here in episode 2 it feels like the show's prioritising spectacle and sometimes fan service nods over storytelling, and they did that better in episode 1. The potential is there. New Vegas is looming on the horizon, escalating wars between the Brotherhood, remnants of the NCR, and the Legion, but the execution is choppy and the pacing is erratic. Is this the direction the series needed? Expanding the scope is fine, but not at the expense of character depth or narrative momentum. We're 2 episodes in and it already feels bloated, but that bloat consists of nothing. Here's hoping the back half tightens up, or this could go the way of so many post-apocalyptic tales, promising ruins but ultimately just more irradiated wasteland. What do you think? Is the multi-threaded approach building to something epic, or is it just a fracturing storyline? Drop your thoughts below. I'll see you next time.